My stepbrother stole my achievements, so I exposed him as a nitwit. My stepbrother Carlos has been riding my coattails since our parents got married when I was 12. He's the golden boy with the perfect smile and the gift of taking credit for other people's work, while I'm the one actually doing everything behind the scenes. Carlos learned early that showing up at the right moment with the right words could make him look like a genius. It started small in high school when I spent 3 months developing a new water filtration system for our science fair project. Derek showed up on presentation day, memorized my 30-second summary, and when we won the state championship and a $10,000 scholarship, he told the local newspaper he was the lead researcher, while I stood there holding our project like his assistant. In college, I created an entire startup app for campus food delivery, coding for 8 months straight, and securing partnerships with 12 local restaurants. Derek convinced me to add his name as co-founder for investor meetings because of his business skills, then presented my pitch deck to venture capitalists, and walked away with a $200,000 investment that he used to buy a Tesla while I got nothing. Every time I would want to confront him, my parents would say, "Family is everything," and hold me back. After graduation, I designed and built a revolutionary solar panel cleaning robot that could increase energy efficiency by 40%, spending 2 years perfecting the prototype in my garage. Derek suggested we patent it together for family solidarity, then secretly filed the patent application under only his name and sold the design to a major renewable energy company for $1.2 million. When I confronted him, he shrugged and said, I should have been smarter about business. Last month, I discovered Derek had been telling potential employers that he invented my water filtration system, created my app, and designed my robot, using my work samples in his portfolio to land a $300,000 executive position at a green technology firm. That's when something inside me snapped, listening to him rewrite history while our entire family nodded along like he was some kind of visionary, instead of a fraud who couldn't wire a light switch without electrocuting himself. I wasn't going to be his scapegoat anymore. I was straight up going to expose him as the criminal he was all along. I studied Carlos's weakness relentlessly and made an entire portfolio on him. I realized Carlos had never actually created anything in his life, just stolen credit and convinced everyone else they were misremembering who did the real work. He never actually understood the technical details of anything he claimed to have designed, just memorized enough buzzwords to sound credible in meetings. So I started planning something that would expose him in front of everyone who mattered, using his own arrogance against him. I reached out to the city officials and suggested they host a technical showcase where Carlos could present the detailed engineering behind the municipal building project to potential investors and other city departments. 2 weeks later, at the packed auditorium presentation, Carlos confidently started explaining his solar panel system design to an audience of engineers, city officials, and our entire extended family. I prepared detailed technical questions and convinced my friend Pedro, an actual electrical engineer, to ask them from the audience. When Pedro asked about the inverter load calculations and electrical load distribution, Carlos froze, stammered something about industry standard protocols, and tried to deflect. I stood up from the back and asked him to explain the specific battery storage algorithms he'd supposedly developed, watching his face go pale as he realized he couldn't pronounce half the technical terms, let alone explain them. Then I walked to the front, pulled out my laptop, and projected the original design files onto the screen, complete with timestamps showing I'd created everything months before Carlos even knew the project existed. I calmly explained each technical component, while Carlos stood there speechless, his perfect smile finally cracking, as our parents, the city officials, and everyone in that room realized they'd been watching a fraud. The city immediately rescinded his job offer, and when Carlos tried to protest, I simply asked him to explain how photovoltaic cells convert sunlight to electricity, a question any solar engineer should answer instantly. He couldn't even attempt an answer. Carlos has tried to apologize multiple times since then, but our family finally sees him for what he's always been: all presentation, zero substance. He's lost his job, his support system, and has no idea what he's going to do now that I'm not letting him steal from me anymore. He's even sending me 10 voicemails a day, asking me to forgive him and just talk to him.